I remember very well the assassination attempt on John Paul II and Mehmed Ali Adja's um, subsequent arrest and imprisonment. And it's interesting to learn from the forthcoming autobiography of Pope Francis that apparently in the trip in 2021 to Iraq, um, the the journey was marked also by a serious assassination threat, and he reveals this in his autobiography Spera, Hope. He tells how British intelligence, in collaboration with the Iraqi police, foiled two suicide bomb plots aimed at taking his life during the unprecedented papal visit. In March 2021, against the backdrop of COVID and the ongoing security risks, Francis became the first pontiff to visit Iraq, and his itinerary included Mosul, a city scarred by Islamic State ISIS occupation, where Christians had faced persecution on a systematic basis, and many advisors, including the Apostolic Nuncio in Baghdad, Archbishop Leskova, urged the Pope to cancel his visit. The dangers were enormous. A pandemic raging, fragile state infrastructure, and ISIS remnants capable of devastating violence. Yet Francis's resolve was unshaken. As he wrote, he felt compelled to visit our grandfather Abraham, a symbolic nod to the shared heritage of Jews, Christians, and Muslims. And for Francis, this was not just a diplomatic mission, but a moral and spiritual imperative. And as the Pope landed in Baghdad, British intelligence alerted Iraqi police of a chilling plot. A young female suicide bomber was en route to Mosul, intent on detonating herself during the papal visit, and simultaneously a truck laden with explosives was reported to be speeding towards the same location. Iraqi authorities promptly informed the Vatican guards, triggering an urgent security response, and Francis's account reveals the blunt and grim reality of what followed. When he later inquired about the attackers, his security commander's response was curt: "They're no longer here." And the Iraqi police had intercepted both the woman and the vehicle, neutralizing the threat in violent fashion. Francis reflected on this as the poisoned fruit of war, where even survival is steeped in tragedy. The successful prevention of these attacks highlights the often overlooked role of British intelligence in global security, and their ability to detect and communicate imminent threats underscores the critical value of international cooperation in counter-terrorism efforts. In this case, it was the seamless coordination between British agencies and Iraqi police that safeguarded not only the Pope but also thousands who gathered to hear his message of peace. And despite the dangers, Francis pressed on, visiting Mosul's bombed-out churches, urging forgiveness, and he stood in the middle of the ruins, not only as a pilgrim of peace, but a symbol of resilience against hatred and extremism. And his meeting with the Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani in Najaf, a historic encounter between Catholicism and Shia Islam, further emphasized his commitment to interfaith dialogue. This visit, which had been decades in the making, culminated in the powerful declaration, "Human beings are either brothers in religion or equals in creation." A great statement, actually. Pope Francis's steadfastness in the face of mortal danger is emblematic of his broader papacy, one defined by humility, boldness, and an unyielding commitment to justice. And of course, as his name suggests, he was following in the footsteps of Saint Francis of Assisi, who journeyed into the wars of the Crusades and met Saladin. And the Pope's decision to proceed with the Iraqi trip was not just a defiance of threats, but a declaration that faith and hope could transcend fear. He later wrote, "This journey was not so much about solidarity with Iraq's persecuted Christians as it was about standing against the forces of hatred." The foiled assassination plots remind us of the precarious balance between courage and risk that defines Pope Francis's leadership. They also highlight the indispensable role of intelligence networks in averting catastrophe. So, we're waiting for the publication of Spera. This extraordinary story serves as a poignant reminder that hope and determination can illuminate even the darkest corners of human history.